Round 4 is here, and it's pure vintage thunder. Get ready for the legendary Lotus 49 as they roar into Mid-Ohio sports car course, a technical roller coaster of twists, elevation changes, and high-speed bravery. With its raw power and no-nonsense grip, the 49 will dance and bite in equal measure. Precision and courage will separate the fearless from the fast. It's classic F1 versus American tarmac. My name is Stephen Koenig. Joining me in the commentary box is Joseph Black. Well, we have got the man pulling the magic, Christian Deploy, and all cameras supplied by Dougie Bird. Joseph, welcome to the circuit, and let's take a quick look with our track guide here in GSRC.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Located halfway between Columbus and Cleveland, Ohio, this track has become a road racing staple in the Midwest. The full 2¼ mile version is what is most frequently used, but it also includes a chicane layout and a short course. While each one officially has 13 turns, they do have distinct differences. The chicane layout was the only version for the first part of its history, in which the keyhole included a bus stop style back and forth jink on its entry. The short course simply bypasses the whole keyhole section altogether. The various turns have some rather famous names, such as China Beach with its downhill braking, inviting you into its eponymous sand trap, or Madness, which is a single file set of S's with drastic elevation change. There's also the carousel, and this more than 180-degree turn offers a variety of lines that can be taken. Perhaps the most unique feature of the track is that in the real world, starts are rarely taken on the pit straight. Instead, the green flag is given along the backstretch where an extra flag stand sits. Naturally, sports car racing is the main staple of the venue, but motorcycles have a long history here, and in more recent times, NASCAR has started to hold races at the track. It also hosts driving schools and days for amateur racers to get on the circuit. The Buckeye State is often more closely associated with dirt track ovals, but the amount of history and prestige in Mid-Ohio's events make it just as worthy of notoriety in the region.
A stunning circuit out in America for risk and reward. But Joseph, take us through this beautiful circuit of Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we have a very good circuit on our hands for this round of your Grand Prix Legend season. Opened in 1962, but the modern version is, well, it started in 2006 and it's being used to date. You've got 13 corners around the circuit, the majority of which coming. The first few have straight splitting them, but then 4 to 13 are pretty quick, pretty winding, and should provide a completely different challenge for all the drivers today. And well, I think this is going to be a very, very great race. Opportunities for overtaking into turn 2 and turn 4 in the majority, and you can set yourself up through turns 5 through 13.
Incredible circuit, known to all. Fastest lap was actually set by Will Power in an IndyCar, a 1 minute 5.2. We're not going to be seeing that sort of pace from our Lotus 49s, as they've been on a proper charge. Like we said, this is round 4, and let's quickly take a look at the points and see where everyone's standing, because we've got multiple different classes. Starting off with our F1 drivers, Jorge Neva and Mick Claridge take on their battle once again, sitting first and second. Nikolai Kuchi in third, Kevin Verbruggen, followed by Henry Morse, Gary Ho, Robert Pumley, along with Seb Clapper, John Olsen, and Rowley Wallbank, rounding out in 10th position.
The F2 standings are led by Mikael Zabala on 79 points ahead of Zenkar in P2. Thomas Willershausen only 1 point behind him. Then 17 points from the leader back to Sandeep Banerjee, Tobias Hanvi, David Tomaski even, Samuel Marr, Roberto Pangrazzi, Matt Linden and Jose Lamas round out your top 10.
Absolutely close in the championships, but let's take a look at the nations. And Spain leads the charge on 175 points. 21 points behind them is Italy, followed by Netherlands, Brazil, United Kingdom, Hong Kong, United States, So Tom and Perneps, along with Tuvula, and rounding out the pack is Sweden, 92 points off our Spanish. This is going to be an incredible drive, and it is for the pride of the championship, for your country, and also to really battle it out. It's round 4 of 12, 24 laps with open setups, no spare cars, so don't break them, otherwise you're going to be walking back home. Drive-throughs at 17 X's, disqualification at 25 means that there's no room for error for these drivers. Off tracks are going to be detrimental to your race. Now, Joseph, talking about this, the circuit itself, twisty, undulating, you're going to have to really trust what you have got underneath you to really put the hammer on and really sure that you can keep your foot in it. A gentle lift can be a loss of 2 to 3 positions as we take a look at quali.
Yeah, especially with these cars that we'll have under us, or they'll have under them even, it'll be specifically a little bit more unstable, so they'll see what they're going to be able to do. It's Claridge at the top at the moment, just a tenth and a half ahead of Verbruggen, so it's pretty tight between the top two. The top three, in fact, with Kochi, just 2 tenths off the top. But yeah, they're going to have to really trust their racecraft and really trust the car beneath them. Practice will make perfect, especially at a circuit like this.
Well, taking a look, Never is not in the sim as well, so a loss of points on his part. But Verbruggen puts himself into first place with Kochi, Claridge down in third, Olsen lying in fourth, Heller in fifth. But gotta say, Mick Claridge has been on a proper charge, going back to last week, where it was the likes of Mick Claridge and Never who were fighting it out of the final corner, towards the checkered flag, threw everything he could, but unfortunately couldn't get the win. Now looking to reclaim some of the points, move up in the order, considering how close it is between himself and Jorge Never.
Yeah, it's incredibly tight at the top, of course. 4 points separating the top 3 in the F2 standings. And that is going to be something that they're going to keep an eye on as they head towards season's end. We head towards the end of qualifying, 2 minutes 46 on the board. And Mick Claridge goes quickest once again. He was displaced momentarily, but Claridge has gone back up to the top of the standings. And now under 2 tenths. It was just over 2 tenths between the top 3. But this is Jorge Never, the top of the F2 standings, and we'll see what he's going to be able to do. He's left it late in the F1 standings even. He's left it late in these in this qualifying session to be able to set himself a time. So it's going to take a little bit longer for him to get on the board, as opposed to those who've been out on the circuit for a few laps, who've gotten warmed up to it. And Jorge Never looking to beat Claridge up at the very top of the field. He'll come up to the line and he's going to set a 1:22.718. So at the moment, not quite up there, right at the very top.
We've got Dunya busy trying to put a time on the board, but it looks like everyone starting to feel the pressure by putting a wheel off circuit, going in and validating their laps, pushing themselves a little bit harder. Now, we've got to remember, these cars have no traction control, no TC, no big slicks. They just came in as you got rid of drum brakes and you started moving on to discs. So they slow down is quite terrible, but you can see how much the suspension movement there actually is in these cars, just purely on when they were designed. And honestly, becomes one of the most challenging cars that if you can conquer, you can race anything. And I've got to say, the likes of Nieva, who's gone and battled it out. He's fought at the top of the championships last season, now looking to do it again, but hoping this time to really put the hammer down, as no time has been put on the board for him. And last thing you want to do is be a standing start at the back of the field, trying to work your way through this very technical course.
Yeah, very technical last half of the circuit, I would say. And that is what they're currently navigating through. And he's going to look to maybe set a valid lap time would be a good start for him. And right at the moment, he's still having a go. And he has set a valid lap time. And I said he would take a while to get into it. He's proven me wrong. He's just under a tenth behind Claridge at the very top. Togomenchi is heading through now, trying to set his own lap. But this one is not quite going to be... well, it's going to be a 26.8, which is 26th overall. So not quite going to be on the first layer of the timing boards. Only 15 seconds left, so not no time, in fact, for them to go out again. And that was somebody coming into the pit lane, but a very close battle for pole. They're separated by less than a tenth of a second.
Now it's going to be an incredible one and a very difficult race indeed for our drivers in both the F2 and in the F1 class for our Lotus 49s here at round 4 of Mid-Ohio. And some beautiful scenery shots. Really does show the undulations that the drivers are going to be battling their way through. A lot of blind corners that you're going to have to deal with the rises and falls. Let's take a look at the starting grid. It is going to be Mick Claridge and Jorge Nieva lining up side by side again. Kevin Verbruggen for Nikolai Kuchi in 4th. Xavier Sanchez, followed by Gary Ho, John Olsen, Mickey Ferguson, Mitch Heller, and Ray Oliver round out in 10th. But Joseph, who takes 11th position?
But it's going to be Kurt Clapper in that 11th place, and Aitor Sintes Galindo just in behind in P12. It's a pretty close grid. Robert Plumley, P13, Josephine Becker, P14, Jose Conde, P15. Those three split by just under a tenth of a second. Gary Quellin takes 16th place, Roberto Pengrazzi in 17th, and then Alan Graham, Cam Porter, and Albert Palahi round out the top 20.
That being said, it's not all over as yet, as our drivers get ready to go. Kurt Clapper will be trying to get a time on the board. It's Jose Lammers in 21st with Ryan Marr, Anthony Orbiter, David Tomsky in 24th, Ulrich Zilbar in 25th. 26th is Demenci, followed by Johnny Nakamura, Jason Clapper, no time on the board, same as Seb Clapper, and Mats Lydon, unfortunately not able to put a time on the board. 30 cars looking to start. We've got Donald Peake in 31st, but 31 cars ready to start the Lotus 49s here in Mid-Ohio, and we're in for an absolutely challenging time. Lights on, in gear, put yourself ready, hold on to the clutch, don't let it roll, and away you go. It does look like a great start for Mick Claridge as he quickly goes and defends and keeps Nieva behind him.
Yes, it's pretty good.
Claridge will continue on, but Joseph, it is chaos in the back as drivers fight for position. Your thoughts thus far?
Well, at the moment, it's chaos at the back, but pretty calm up at the top of the field. Claridge taking the lead at the moment. There's a couple of 3-wide, 4-wide moments into the first braking zone on the circuit, and they're still trying to filter their way through, but it's Claridge leading Neva by 0.3 of a second. Verbruggen still chasing in behind at the very top. Verbruggen did have a look down the inside, did not make the move, and just stays in behind. This is going pretty well for himself and for his nation as well, but yeah, just stays in behind for the time being. Tries to sense an opportunity, tries to open one up, can't quite see one yet. Ray Oliver down in P10 is trying to battle with Heller for that 9th place. If he does fight too hard though, he's got Becker waiting in the wings and ready to attack.
Got to be so careful running in the train, don't want to brake too hard and land up with the field coming through you, but at the same time you need to be right up the gearbox of your opponent to ensure that you get as much as you can with that slipstream already. Mick's starting to open up the gap, and Kevin Verbruggen knows that he needs to keep the pressure onto Nieva ahead of him as Nieva goes late on the brakes, trying to bring it back. Kevin looked for the inside, the room unfortunately getting closed as he continues on. They have got Kuchi behind in 4th place, so 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are one mistake away from a massive change. Kevin Verbruggen once again getting as close as he can to the apex of the corner, but has to brake a little bit harder. That compromises his exit and allows Kuchi to make up some time. But Mick Claridge going to open up the gap. So Cocky hoping to keep going as Verbruggen will keep the pressure on at the moment onto the backs of Nieva just ahead.
Yeah, still trying to pressure as Nieva just, I think, starting to feel that pressure, dropping a little bit more time to Claridge in every single corner, just trying to maximise his exits, and Verbruggen still trying to pressure. He's braking later into corners and coming out earlier or later on the exits as well. He should be probably doing the other way around, because then he can continue to apply that said pressure. But having said that, if he does make it look as though he's shaping up an overtake, Nieva might move to defend, and then we'll lose a little bit of time as we are on lap 2 of 24. Nieva is just in that 2nd place. The top 4 starting to break away. There's a 1 second gap back now to Ho in P5, and fastest lap of the race thrown in by Mick Claridge at 1:21.980 as he tries to extend his advantage at the top.
Ray Oliver keeping the pressure up, trying to make a move as well. Closing a little bit closer to Heller and Frenton, a little bit up the road. Now, Heller late on the brakes, trying to make it work. An incredible driver in terms of hard defense, but also knows how to attack with these cars. Seb Clapper was one of the cars that started right at the back, unable to put a time on the board. Now up into 18th, clean overtake, and puts the hammer down. So Seb Clapper hoping to really stretch open the gap a little bit more here, but still feeling a huge amount of pressure. Got to say, utilizing the Pimax VR, what better way to get immersed in these amazing cars, then in VR, throwing it around, a little bit of motion. Oh, we got one of the cars falling off in the back.
Yeah, somebody going off in the background. It's Ryan Mayer going off and recovering onto the circuit, not in last place, but with his momentum well and truly broken. So he may well have the drivers behind trying to pressure, or he may well start the push up ahead because he knows he has the pace to be up ahead, and he's just going to try and, well, rebuild from that mistake. It's a good time to make a mistake, if any, as it's only lap 3 of 24. A little bit of a replay here we've got for you as a spin for Roberto Pengrazzi, well avoided by the car in behind, and well avoid. Oh, never mind, not well avoided, as just a little bit of netgo coming in there and hit into the wall. Front wing completely gone for the car that made contact with them. That's incredibly unlucky.
Colin going and getting a face full of Lotus 49, smashing the nose off, damage to the suspension. That is a long repair needed, and unfortunately I don't think he'll be back out on circuit. Ryan getting a little bit more of a drive around the outside, really taking risks at the moment, trying to move back up through the order. You've got to say, not quite the way you want to do it. Unfortunately, these cars like to dance around quite a bit, so putting yourself off the ideal line into the marbles means that you are really risking that rear end to start sliding out a lot more than planned. Ryan hopes to keep the pressure on at the moment. Once again, looks around the outside over the 23, but just not able to carry as much momentum as he needs to get the pass done and dusted.
Yes, just trying to make the pass stick at the moment in these early stages of this race. And there's a lot of potential overtakes being set up, but none being gone for yet, although Mitch Heller closest of all on the back of Fries, and just 0.2 of a second as Nieva took the fastest lap, but then Kevin Verbruggen even took it straight back off him. So second and third going quicker than first at the moment. That will close the gap up at the top, but the battle for 8th place is the closest on the circuit at the moment, as Friesen, Heller and Oliver fight it out, and Heller still trying to put some pressure on, stepping out of the dirty air of the car in front, and Ray Oliver just still trying to follow through. He can sense an opportunity at some point soon. Heller taking those not ideal lines, and Oliver just taking the ideal ones behind him, setting himself up. I think at some point someone in this group is going to crack, maybe make a mistake that'll cost them 100th of a second, and that could just be what drops them down from the battle for 8th, just down to 10th place, and off the back of them, Clapper as well, not too far off, one of the 3 Clappers we have in this race in P11, Plumley, looking to try to pressure. So if you make one mistake and you drop down a position here, it could start a domino effect.
Taking a look at Ray's car, was really bringing the revs right up to 9,000 RPM to get that gear change. Any further, you're going to be straining the motor and landing up with a bigger problem. So he's really risking it with high revving gear changes and then getting it right down to 4,000 RPM before he goes down the gears, just to try and stabilize the rear, not to lock the diff. Mitch Heller, on the other hand, is now starting to feel the pressure, seeing that he needs to try and get the pass done and dusted. A bit of a meat in the sandwich at the moment. This is not going to be hugely effective in terms of aerodynamics. You're not worrying as much as the aero being an issue, but you are worrying about attacks from behind. As you can already see, Ray Oliver puts his nose in, once again showing can try and get the pass done and dusted. A phenomenal drive on his part, but unfortunately just not having the revs in the right range to get the drive in and out of the corner. So Ray Oliver is hoping to do everything he can. Mickey Friesen also just hanging on by a breath at the moment. Goes out a little bit wide, compromises his line, sweeps back, and Mickey Friesen is holding 8th place, but only just at the moment.
Yes, only just, and you can see that shot of the engine, how close Heller is to the back of it, and you can see with the offboard shots as well how close that the cars in behind are getting, and they are getting ever closer, the 17 and the 15, just still looking ever closer at the back, and at some point somebody is going to have to go for a move, as I said earlier on in the broadcast. Turn 2 and turn 4, the prime overtaking spots. But if you can get somebody in the lower speeds here, as Jorge Nieva takes the fastest lap of the race once again in his attempt to pressure Claridge, but if you can get the pressure on here, then you can really take that opportunity. And well, as they head now towards the first few corners on this track, Heller is looking for that overtake. Is he going to go for it? On this occasion, not quite, but you can see how close he's getting to the back.
He's keeping his lines tight and making sure he can follow into the corners a bit easier. Mitch not holding back at the moment, does move out a little bit just to try and break the toe, but it is going to be a hard time. Taking a look at a replay on the top right, it is Xavier Sanchez, unfortunately, putting wheel into the dirt, goes a little bit farming, rejoins safely, but down the order from where he wanted to be. Mitch Heller back in the fight, hopes to gain a little bit of time. Nieva now putting pressure on Claridge, a copy and paste moment from last week. This time round, however, Nieva on the back foot with Claridge now dictating the pace, putting in some very quick lap times, but Kevin Verbruggen waiting in the wings, hoping for a pass to happen, but also take a look at Nick lying in 4th place is starting to go and close up the gap as well. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th are all so close to one another, and we're only 8 out of 24 laps around this Mid-Ohio circuit. Who's got the mental stamina to keep up the fight? Who is going to be able to continue holding their lines and not running out wide to lose out that 10th of a second that is oh so crucial around the circuit with the Lotus 49s?
Yeah, over a third of the way through this race, and the top 4 still within range. Ho back 3 seconds as to the top 4, with a great opportunity here to fight it out tooth and nail for that podium, as Kochi just a little bit off, 0.8 of a second. The top 3 split by just 5 in total, and as we're a third of the way through this race, you'd expect the similar sort of gaps to continue. Cam Porter racing, he's in P17 at the moment. He's got Clapper on the rear of him, and well, he's laser focused and locked in, trying to defend the position. There's 1.4 seconds up to Pangrazzi, just ahead, and there's only 0.2 back to Linden, who tries to open up the exit, can't quite do so, as Porter just keeps his lines tight and stays in. He just stays on the racing line at the moment, and he's just going to force the car behind to try and do something in order to change that, and in order to change Cam Porter's approach, which at the moment is just take your lines, and well, it's the ideal racing line, it's the optimal one, it's the one that will take you through the fastest, and at the moment Clapper unable to find an opportunity.
Cam Porter, we've seen many times before, likes to slow it down on the apex, forcing the competition just to break that little bit more, lose the rear. And this is one of the stellar defenses on his part that he's utilized against numerous drivers in the past. But Porter going and mining out of the way by a big margin. This has opened the door for Clapper to go up on the inside. Little lift off the brakes, back in, and on the power. Cam Porter down the position. A crucial mistake took him out of the running. And take a look as Clapper starts to open up the gap. Porter now needs to try and refocus on the attack, try and get a little bit closer, that we charge back up to the front of the field. Nieva hoping to keep Claridge under wraps as he tries to close down. They are incredibly close in the championship, and a win here is huge to see who can move forward, considering 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the championship are all together in the top 4. Everyone looking for a win, everyone looking to be at the top of the Lotus 49s here on iRacing for the Sunday Grand Prix series.
Yeah, well, that's why they are. That's why they are the top 4 in the standings. And Nieva going for the move around the outside of Claridge. Can he get the run on the exit, though? No, he can't. And that opens up the door to Verbruggen, but he's blocked in by Claridge. And it's going to be as you were as they headed out of the corner. But Nieva with a huge opportunity to make the move up and try to get past Claridge. He's not been able to take it, but he may well have set himself up for a move into the next corner. No, Verbruggen again looking on that inside line. And he's just waiting for Nieva to try and make a move so he can also slip through.
It's a constant battling back and forth. You don't want to get boxed in. The moment you get thrown out of the train, it's so difficult to come back. Nicola now also gaining a little bit of time on the back, but it is Jorge Nieva who is keeping the pressure on Claridge, going and fighting left and right with the steering wheel, bringing the revs right up to the top, trying to utilize every little bit of power that the Lotus 49 has on it. Claridge running out a bit wide, starting to make crucial mistakes. And this is going to be Nieve's chance to gain the position if he can just get the drive. If Claridge can just drop a wheel on the dirt, it might be all that's needed to tip the championship in Nieve's balance, as a win here will be a stellar one. Taking a win last week and the week before, imagine getting it 3 rounds in a row for the Lotus 49 championship. Well, Claridge looking to put that to bed as he continues on the drive, battling through. Second place was last week, first place on the cards this week.
And as it stands, he is going to take it. He's managed to put up a stern defence ahead of Nieva, but how much is he going to be able to hold on to it at the moment? It will close the championship if he is able to take it. And just cutting off Nieve's opportunity there, who he looks at a line every single corner. He looks for a way to get through, but at the moment there is no way through for him, for Bruggen and Kochi, just waiting in the wings, waiting for one of these two to either make a move or make a mistake. It does close it at the top. Nieva, who is 12 points ahead heading into this round, and well, Claridge might just be able to close that gap down as now they head down the hill. Claridge does hold on to the move. It's a difficult braking zone, but they've all managed to make it through okay. Nieva seems to have made it through a little bit better than Claridge, but not well enough to seize that opportunity to build just a chance for him to make his way past. And yeah, these four, as we head over to the halfway point of this race, are just they're locked in battle.
It's an absolute fight, nose to tail on the way through with this classic machinery. Lotus 49s go and favor the brave, and unfortunately, if you go and make a mistake, they know how to create a bit of pain. Nieva knows that all too well, as Mick Claridge continues to hold first place, but only just. Nieva looks to the outside, hoping for a sweep across the nose. Late on the brakes, tries to bring it through. Mines out a little bit wide, and this has now opened the door for Verbruggen to go and capitalize. Verbruggen tries to get the drive out on him, but just not close enough to make it happen, as our top four, all within half a second of one another. It is turning into a monstrous battle. Claridge, I think, is done looking in these mirrors because it's a horror movie behind him. Verbruggen constantly looking to get past Nieva, just keeps having the door slammed every time and not able to get past. But take a look at Nicola, now gaining the time, starting to close up, been consistently sitting in the wings, and now a chance to go on the attack. 13 laps to go here at Mid-Ohio, and still these drivers are absolutely giving it everything they've got.
And of course they are at the top of the overall standings, giving it everything they can. They are the quickest of the lot, and that is exactly what they're showing at the moment. The top four in the F1 standings and the top four in the race at Mid-Ohio as well. It just demonstrates why they're right up there at the top of the points. Gary Ho as well will take home, or as it looks like, a comfortable P5, but Olsen has closed in over the last few laps, as Ho has just rested on his advantage, and so that one may not quite be at its end. We are halfway through, 12 to go in this one, and we are having a look at Seb Clapper here, who comes under pressure from Quellin, who does have a look down the inside, but there is no way through for him, and he sits in behind. There's two Clappers in this battle, K Clapper and Seb Clapper in P12 and P13, and Quellin in 14th, with the other Clapper down in 15th, just 2.5 in behind. So Quellin looking for an opportunity to get out of this little group, and well, Seb Clapper doing exactly the same thing, taking a very wide line. Quellin spots an opportunity but doesn't go for it.
Oh, Seb just trying to focus in on those apexes. You can see leaning his head in, trying to see where exactly is the limits of the circuit, hoping to get the drive. And this is the one thing you got to do, is get your revs absolutely perfect. You got to get the turn in perfect and ensure that you get going. And the US Air Force colors means that you have to be perfect every step of the way. Seb Clapper started further down the order, has made a great climb up as the race has gone on, but now is in a difficult situation to not get past the likes of Quellin just ahead of him. So this is going to be a tough time as Quellin runs behind Seb Clapper, waits for an opportunity. Seb looks for the inside, late on the brakes, goes for the send. Can he make it work? He does. However, that has opened up the door for Colin to get the pass done as well. Seb has just, unfortunately, caused one of the clappers to drop down. Kurt is now a loss of 2 positions due to Seb's major send down the inside.
Yes, and it was, well, that is the end of it, as he's... fun fact, he's not actually called Seb Clapper. He is trolling the other clappers, and at the moment he is the leader of the clappers. He's made his way through, and he's up to P12. The other two in 14th and 15th at the moment. They are split by Quellin. Cam Porter still racing through this one, and still on the back of Sintes Galindo. And he's looking pretty good for an overtake, taking a very tight line into the corner as he spotted a chance down the inside. Didn't go for it on this occasion, but it's just all about now finding that chance that he can make. And there will be an opportunity to make it down in P18, fighting for P17 as the battle at the top continues and wages on. Nieva right in behind, 2 tenths in fact, split the two. And it's all so tense at the top.
Nieva hoping to keep the pressure on. I've got to say, throughout the race, 10 laps to go, these drivers have been on top of one another. And this is mental stamina on all parts. Whether you're defending or attacking, you're in for a difficult situation. And I don't think there's a single one of these 4 drivers that are sitting without a smile on their face. Mick Claridge, who leads out the race by 0.2 of a second, with Nieva hunting down. You can see a brilliant exit out of the corners, but just no way to get past. Every time closes up that gap and has to come off the throttle. And this slowly brings Verbruggen back into the charge with the likes of Nicola as well. Mick Claridge keeps to the outside, hard on the brakes, tries to bring it all back in, and Nieva once again hard on the attack, couldn't quite get it done yet. Looks to the outside, possibly this is going to be it. Claridge trying to close him off, walks him to the fringes. Claridge holds the inside line. Verbruggen tried to look for the inside of Nieva, but just couldn't get it done. And this has brought Nikolai into contention as well. Nieva has smelt blood in the water, and Claridge is the next victim.
Yes, and well, they are just having to look for, well, they're having a look at trying to fight the two, Nieva and Verbruggen. Very close now on the back of Claridge. They smell blood in the water, and they can't quite at the moment just sense it. Well, they can't quite sense the opportunity and where it's going to come from, but all they can sense is that there is going to be another opportunity opening up soon, whether it's going to be Nieva taking it, whether it's going to be Verbruggen, who is trying to get through into that P2 spot, prime position to attack Claridge with 9 to go. Don't forget about Kochi in behind. He is also in a very, very good spot. If there's any mistake made by anyone earlier up, as we saw earlier as Nieva went for a move on Claridge that didn't pay off, Verbruggen is there to challenge. Kochi is also there just to try and follow Verbruggen through in anything that he does. I think it's a good idea just to sit in behind Verbruggen. I think he's a bit of a dark horse in this battle, as Claridge and Nieva have been the quickest so far, but Verbruggen has shown that he can sniff an opportunity out, and when he does, he is more than willing to take it.
The problem is, if Verbruggen gets the win over Kochi, it means that he's going to lose track of the championship, 3rd place in the championship. So for the likes of Kevin Verbruggen, he's got to really make it stick. He's up in 2nd place, however, and now has gotten ahead of Nieva. A stellar drive, but they're also going to catch up to one of the back markers just rejoining the circuit. But Kevin Verbruggen taking 2nd, that's opened up a bit of room for Claridge as he tries to get on by. Nieva down into 3rd, and Nicola down in 4th place. Needs to get on the tack. This is a nightmare case for Nieva as he loses tracks to Verbruggen and getting a bit closer to Nicola behind him. This is not what he wanted. 8 laps to go here at Mid-Ohio. Championship points are crucial, and this will be a massive change in the championship as Mick Claridge will take 1st in the championship heading into next week. Kevin Verbruggen will go and jump up into 3rd, and unfortunately Nieva will be sitting in 2nd, but only just ahead.
It's also tight at the top. as they head through the rounds. And, well, it's also tight at the top here in Mid-Ohio as well. Nieva looks to that inside for Bruggen, tries to cover it off, dares Nieva to go late, and indeed he does, to show that he has the guts to stay in there. Kochi now tries to take that momentum out of the corner and sees his chance, but he can't do it, and just sits in behind. He was going to try and follow Verbruggen through, but now he's got to make the overtake work all by himself. But at the moment, I think they are in a very, very good spot. We're going to get a replay here of Mickey Friesen down in 9th place, sliding off of the circuit, and just behind him as well. Lucky to avoid any significant contact, and just, well, one mistake breeding another, as the car behind, I presume, saw that Mickey Friesen had gone off the circuit, watched him go off, and, well, saw himself going off just a couple of seconds too late, as mistakes can breed further mistakes. And if you lose any concentration for any moment, then you can drop down with them.
Mickey Friesen, who watches the show back, is definitely going to be taking a deep breath on that one. Nieva down in 3rd, however, is trying everything he can. He's fishing every bit of line possible to get past Verbruggen. It's losing him a little bit of time as well. Bit of desperation trying to get a little bit closer, and I think maybe his tires have just gone and cooked them a little bit too much, as he can't get as much traction in and out of the corners. Xavier Sanchez a little bit further down in 6th position. The Spaniard hoping to get past Olsen, dives up around the outside, can't really get the drive there. You can see getting closer and closer to the marbles. That's now opened him up for Gary Ho to get on the attack, and I've got to say, a stunning setup for Gary Ho, going and utilizing a old school Grand Prix wheel with a VR headset. What better way to go racing, as he keeps an eye on the amazing battle ahead of him. Gary Ho waits for his opportunity. Olsen and Sanchez side by side. Gary looks to lunge for the inside to get it done and dusted. Bit of a tank slapper, however, and that unfortunately loses a little bit of drive, but definitely hopes to try and force Olsen into a mistake as Sanchez starts to open up the gap.
Yeah, and well, it's a good opportunity for him to. There's nobody ahead of him to even threaten to challenge his pace, and he can try and break free, which will be a very, very good result for him. And well, 12.3 seconds behind Kochi. There is a huge opportunity there for him to try and build that gap. Olsen and Ho just chasing in behind, but they may well trip over each other. There's a 7/10 gap between Sanchez and Olsen, which is just enough, I think, for Sanchez to be able to try and stretch his legs. But Gary Ho, who spent the majority of this race in P5, will be, I think, a little bit naturally disappointed with the fact that he's now down in P7. But with 5 laps to go, he's still within range of it, so never say never.
Well, down a little bit further, and now lying 6th in the championship. That's going to further slip down. He's hoping to get more points than Harry Morse, who's not in the race. But take a look. Gary once again looks on the inside of Olsen. He just tries to peer through, see if he can make him look at the rearview mirror, but it's not to be the case. Ray Oliver now in 11th position, trying to get past the likes of Friesen, will dive for the inside line and does get it. Can he stand on the gas a little bit more? Mickey Friesen try to fight back. Unfortunately, just not enough drive left in the car. The United States, Mickey Friesen, not able to make up the time, and after a very close call a little bit early on, just trying to get the tires back into optimum range. 4 laps to go, however, and our leaders are now battling it through. They're 4 laps to send it or get comfortable, but traffic is building up, as we just saw in shot. Mick Claridge will have to try and figure out what can he do to carry the momentum through, knowing that the likes of Nieva and Verbruggen are going to be right behind him, and they're going to have to sort through a lot of fighting traffic.
They will indeed. A lot of, well, the traffic will be fighting. They are. Those at the bottom are actually in very, very good close proximity to those around them, which is a pretty unique situation, which does mean that those who are trying to lap are going to struggle to get through them, because they're not going to want to lose that much time, especially for those battling up ahead. They're going to be focused on their own battles, and anything else will feel a little bit silly in terms of them trying to lose time or intentionally losing time, backing off And if they see the other person in their battle not backing off yet, well, they're not going to do so in any sort of hurry as well. We do have just 4 laps to go, and Nieva is trying to retake that P2 off of Verbruggen, but there is not enough of a run out of any of these corners for him to be able to do so, as Claridge did build up a gap of about 9 tenths. That's been sliced in half. Verbruggen is only 5 tenths back now. Nieva only 2 back from Verbruggen, and they are they're in with a very, very good chance of being caught in this traffic, and that traffic in itself has a very, very good chance of deciding this race.
Well, as they scream on by, 9,000 RPM, 600 horsepower, well, 400 horsepower in these cars. They're going to have to use all the gears available, 5-speed box, and ensuring that they're not going to go down into first around this fast sweeping circuit. It's going to be second gear, high revving to carry the momentum through, but you got to be sure to make you go late on the brakes. For likes of Nieva, he is desperately hunting down any gap on Verbruggen, who has now put the charge back onto Claridge ahead of him. Claridge is hoping that he can keep it going, as likes of John Olsen falls down the order and is not in an easy situation. Sanchez goes on a solid defense. Gary hoping to try and get on by as quick as possible. And I've got to say, some amazing racing from our 49s, and this has got everyone itching out there in the virtual grandstands to be part of the show, to go and drive these cars. I mean, who doesn't want to be in the golden age of Formula One, in the golden age of Grand Prix cars?
Exactly, these cars are arguably the best cars of Formula One in Formula One history, and they are fighting tooth and nail in this race as Nieva tries to make his way through now and looks for that outside line on Verbruggen, who is on the inside, and tries to get the run out of the corner. Verbruggen, though, eventually does cede the position as he got a poorer run out of the corner. Can Verbruggen fight back at all in this one, as Claridge has taken the opportunity to build up a gap? No, Kochi looking down the inside, backing out, not sensing that opportunity, not making that move, and the 27 up ahead of Peak is just being a thorn in the side of Nieva as Verbruggen tries to look to pressure.
Verbruggen making critical mistakes, the rear starting to step out, light tanks starting to come into play, and Nicola now hoping to keep the pressure on. Third place is on the cards here, 2 laps to go. Nieva back into second, looks to try and stretch open the gap, but Mick Claridge is a second point, 1.3 seconds up the road and continues on. Verbruggen gets it sideways, loses the drive. Nicola goes up on the inside, trying to carry the momentum side by side out through the final corner. Nicola just waited enough time to gain third place, and unfortunately for Verbruggen, the rear just did not want to grip underneath it.
No, definitely didn't, and that's a crucial time for it not to want to grip underneath them as the fight for P5 continues to wage on. Olsen and Ho so close to the back of Sanchez as they head out to the final lap of this race. This is what it all comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. The battle for P1 looks to be over. Claridge has a 1.3 second gap. The battle for P2 on more than ever. The battle for P5 as well. Well, more on than ever as well. Olsen just flying the flag for Sao Tome and Principe, could be under pressure for this P6. Gary Ho looking around the outside. Has he got the momentum off of the corner? Has he slingshotted himself well enough? He gets the slipstream off of Sanchez, but it's not quite enough, and he has to stay in behind. And Sanchez loves to see Olsen and Ho going at it because he's able to break free. Nieva is 1.1 behind Claridge now, and he's got a whole second on Kochi. Kochi in P3, but Verbruggen has dropped to P4.
Well, Mick Claridge has done it all, has fought it all, and a brilliant race indeed. Coming up towards the checkered flag. Second last week, first here at Mid-Ohio. And well done to Mick Claridge. Nieva taking second. Kochi running in third. Verbruggen will have to settle for fourth. Sanchez down in fifth. Olsen will finish up in sixth with Gary Ho right on his tail in 7th place. Sean Clapper will end up in 9th. Well, in 8th with Heller in 9th. Oliver trying to move up late on the brakes. Unfortunately, just not enough road. Ray Oliver will have to be content with 10th place. Jason Clapper down in 13th, put on a huge charge to catch up to Plumley. Unfortunately, not close enough to make work. Cam Porter continues on to try and make any position available. Unfortunately, coming out of the left-hander, has to settle for 17th as a continued effort. But what a stellar drive for Cam Porter. And you can see hands up saying, well, I gave it my absolute all.
Yes, and I think all those drivers gave it their all. Claridge just about holding on to it and taking that victory home, a well-deserved one, as he didn't have the outright pace, but he had the defence at the important times in order to cling on to it. Nieva, P2 for him, and well, the fastest lap as well, demonstrating that he was quicker than Claridge, you would imagine, but over 1 lap, not over the race distance. Kochi taking that 3rd place. Verbruggen with a very unlucky 4th, and that's almost exactly the championship order, but Claridge swapping with Nieva, a crucial race in said championship and a crucial time for Claridge to take that victory.
Absolutely stunning racing at Mid-Ohio, a circuit that is overlooked by many, but to bring back these classics, to race around it, is absolutely incredible. Mick Claridge being the winner of the race with George Nieva down in 2nd place. Nicola Kochi in 3rd, Kevin Verbruggen, Xavier Sanchez, John Olsen, Gary Ho, Seb Clapper, Mitch Heller, and Ray Oliver round out our top 10. Taking a look, Joseph, further down through the field, let's see who we got.
Well, it's going to be Mickey Friesen, P11, with Robert Plumley just edging out Jason Clapper in P13. Gary Quellin won out in the battle for 14th in the end. Kurt Clapper and Aitor Sintes Galindo in 15th and 16th. Then it's Cam Porter, Jose Conde, Josephine Becker, and Jose Lamas. 3 different versions of the name Joseph, my own name, and they round out 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Unfortunately, there was a little bit further down. Roberto Prangazzi did everything he could, finishing out in 21st position. Albert Pella in 22nd, followed by Ranmer. Donald Peak down a lap. That's Linden. David Tomsky, along with Anthony Abrota. Domici, unfortunately, further down the order. Zalbera in 29th and McNera down in 30th. Unfortunately, losing a bit of pace during the course of the race. Alan Graham down 23 laps and a non-finisher after this race. Bad shame for Alan. And this is a rough race for him indeed. A weekend to forget. So while we wait and see how things are going to turn out, championship all change. Mick Claridge now at the top of the order, and Nieva down in 2nd. This is going to be an incredible run for drivers to really push their way through the order. We'll see how it all works out as it all continues in 12 weeks. So, that being said, we have got quite a few drivers joining us for the racing, and let's bring them through. We have got Mick Claridge coming and joining us. Mick, welcome to. Fantastic to have you here. How are you feeling after the race?
Hi guys, I'm Nick. I'm not Mick, but I'm Nick as Nicola Cocci though. Can I talk?
Yes, with pleasure, Nick. Nick, now let's go through the race. You have really fought it out. You waited for your opportunity to pull the trigger on Verbruggen. How was it out there, scoring 3rd and after being nose to tail for nearly 28 laps in a row?
Yeah, when you mess up quality a little bit in a track like this, which is nearly impossible to pass, you're not starting with the right foot, of course. I had huge understeer both in my qualifying laps, so I lost that stance that put me 4th. So I was aware that is going to be so hard to pass here, and the only thing I could do is just like stick with the front group and wait for an opportunity, because if nobody does mistakes, there is no way that you can pass. So I was kind of lucky that Kevin had a huge moment on the last lap, and I was able to try to attack him, and that was it. But other than that, I had many overheating issues with my tires. Sometimes the car just stopped working, and I think I lost the train a couple of times during the race, and that's because the grip wasn't there. And after a little bit, it came back, and then it gone again. And this is kind of my main focus about getting faster with this car, to get to know what kind of setup is better to use, and try to modify my driving style to be able to keep the tire in the good spot and doesn't encounter this kind of issue again.
Well, Nick, you had a great time out there. You still hold third in the championship, but with eyes looking forward to next week. Anything you would like to say to everyone out in the virtual grandstands that were cheering you guys on in an incredible fight for first place?
Yeah, I just want to thank the whole community, and more so the guy that always fight with me every week. And so my thanks, my special thanks goes to Jorge, Mick, and Kevin. And I think that we are going to get a new fast driver very soon, and I'm very happy because the more the better. I don't care too much about victories and about points, but I want to fight with fast people, and you are all invited if you want to try the challenge. Bye.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Nicola Kucci going and getting a third place, a stellar drive on his part. But Joseph, you have got George Nieva, who came second place in this battle.
Hello, Jorge. First thing, can you hear us?
Hello, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Beautiful. So just talk us through what was a very, I'd imagine, mentally taxing race, because, of course, you had to fight pretty much from flag to flag.
Yeah, it's really difficult to overtake at this track, and I'm not very good at overtaking. So I knew since the beginning that it will be a really difficult race to win. So, well, I tried a couple of times when Mick did minor mistakes, but then I made a bigger one. I had to... was a bit too aggressive there, but I think it was pretty fair. So, well, second place is the best I could hope today. I think Nicola and Kevin were faster than me, so I'm happy with the second place.
Do you think there was any element of, because obviously you ended up with the fastest lap, so statistically you were the quickest one on there. Do you think, at what point did you feel as though, or were you fighting still for the win till the end? At what point was there a part of you that said that you were going to settle for P2?
I needed Mick to make a mistake, so it was a matter of luck if I would win or wouldn't. So I think in the last lap he could have had any incident with some lapped car. So I was hoping for it, but it was almost impossible. He has been really fast all week, so well-deserved win for him.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then if you look at the championship as well, it's oh so close heading through. This is, of course, round number 4 of the season. Do you think, are you still looking at the championship as yours, or do you think that you're going to have to be the chaser rather than the chased?
I think it will be a matter of holiday leaves. I don't know how many races I will miss. I don't know Mick. I don't know. So maybe the one of us who takes less holidays is the most probable to win, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, attrition is always key. And have you got anybody to thank back home? Of course, the virtual grandstands, the real grandstands, if you're counting the YouTube chat. Have you got anybody to shout out?
I want to thank you guys at GSRC. I love your streams, and you're really nice. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that'll be all, I believe, from Jorge, and we'll now get the opportunity to speak to the race victor, Mick Claridge.
Mick, welcome to the commentary box. Last week, second place. This week, first place. How are you feeling after that race?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Thanks. Yeah, that was tough. That was, one of the toughest races I've ever had. But I knew it was going to be like that, just by the way the car's set up this week. My car, it's a really good qualifying car, and it's brilliant for 3 laps, and then the setup just dies. But I was locked into the set early in the week. I knew it was a quick car over a single lap, and I just couldn't get out of the setup that I'd made, and everything I tried the car just stayed the same all the way through the week. And if I took out some roll bar on the front, the thing just span round on me. So I just could not do anything. I'm just happy it was quick over a lap and out of the last turn, basically. Saved me a lot.
Well, taking a look at the battle, having a 4-car train, especially in the Lotus 49s, being a very daunting to look in the mirrors. What was running through your mind, seeing championship fighters coming at you left, right, and center?
Yeah, do you know what? It's been like it all week, and I wouldn't say I've got used to it, but because I was expecting it, I wasn't that worried about it. I wasn't trying to stop it happening, I just knew they were going to catch me, so I just thought, all right, don't worry about it. You're good out of last turn, you're pretty good out of turn 1, and the next one onto the back straight. That was what saved me. The car was really good on the exits. The second gear was right in line with what I wanted. It was just terrible everywhere else, and it just, it's tough fighting these guys. They'll take anything. The slightest bite, and they'll have you.
Absolutely incredible racing. It does jump you up into first in the championship ahead of Nieva. But what's the game plan heading into round 5, heading towards Portimao?
I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm not too sure about the place, to be honest with you. Just do what I do, 800 or 900 laps a week, and try and get in front of these guys and see if it works. Hopefully it will.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Mick, congratulations from here in the commentary box. Anyone you want to say thank you to in the virtual grandstands before we let you go to enjoy the celebrations with the team?
Thanks. I want to say hello to Rolly. Rolly's one of our drivers who's just been attacked by 3,000 wasps and fell over and done his shoulder in. So hello to Rolly. Get well soon, mate. I know it's going to take a while. Hello to Emma. Emma's watching. Emma's my girlfriend. She actually gave me advice on the last corner yesterday, which I took. So there's Emma. And everyone else who's watching, there's a few people, Denise and Mike in Uxbridge, Malcolm, Carnage, and I'm forgetting 3 people, I can't remember. Oh yeah, it's the Mackenzie boys. Don't mess with the Mackenzie boys.
Absolutely great stuff. Mick, congratulations once again, and a phenomenal win here at the beautiful Mid-Ohio for round 4 of the Lotus 49s. That being said, Joseph, we're in for an exciting treat heading to Portland next week for some great racing, and Portland being a very difficult circuit. I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing how drivers are going to really elevate their game at this stunning circuit.
Yeah, I mean, today provided its own different challenges. The first few corners and the last few corners, a whole different challenge to the second quote-unquote sector. But yeah, Portland, a whole different challenge for the drivers to contend with. And I absolutely agree with you. I think it's going to be a great one to watch.
So next week, 19th of July, 13:30 UTC, 09:30 EDT. Tune in right here on the GSRC. But that being said, it's not all that's being done. We've got plenty of racing coming up, starting off with our IMSA Vintage Series as they head out to Suzuka. And that's going to be starting at 1700 UTC. Right after that, we're going to have our Classic Lotus Grand Prix tomorrow, Sunday, 13th of July, 1630 UTC at Montgomery Course. And we move on to the Porsche's Owner Club, Tuesday, 15th of July at 0155 UTC, 2155 EDT. And we return back to the Grand Prix Legends next week, Saturday, 19th of July, 13:30 UTC, 9:30 EDT at Portland. It's going to be an incredible one. It's going to be an amazing one. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us here at the GSRC. Massive thank you to Joseph Black joining in the commentary box, Christian Deploy out as our director, and Dougie Beard going and giving us all the amazing camera action here at the beautiful Mid-Ohio. And like always, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.
iRacing.